Well, good morning. As you can see, it's still relatively dark. It's just turned 7 o'clock, and you join me at Woodside Fishery. Now, you may have seen 1 or 2 videos of me from this venue. I tend to fish it maybe sort of once every 6 months, so a winter session, a summer session, winter session, summer session, because normally 9 times out of 10 it's good for a bite or two. Now I've had really good success on this venue previously, and yeah, I hope I haven't jinxed myself ahead of this 36 hours on the bank. So it's a Thursday morning. I've got the entire lake to myself. I was originally booked on for a weekend, but yeah, as sort of weekend fishing, it just become absolutely rammed. There's only 5 fishable swims out of 6 at the moment, obviously due to, you know, the whole COVID, etc, etc. So only 5 swims are fishable out of 6. But yeah, I've gone from obviously fishing a weekend where it was 5 out of 5 taken to moving my session 2 days forward to this Thursday morning, and having basically the lake to myself. There is one more person joining tomorrow, I believe, for a 60-hour session. So so yeah, at least I may have some company for the last 12 hours of my session anyway. But yeah, as you can see, the light is slowly starting to make its way through the clouds. We are due a sort of wet and windy one the next couple of days, which is a bit of a change from what the last 3, 4, 5 days. It's just been, you know, foggy, minus temperatures, absolutely freezing to be fair. On the car this morning it was like 5-6 degrees, so quite happy with that. It's meant to be touching sort of 10-11 degrees over the next couple of days and going into the weekend, so anyone out on the bank would probably be rubbing their hands together at a sort of a, you know, southwesterly wind and warm temperatures. But yeah, we've got the entire lake to go at. It looks like it's just turning light, and you probably won't be able to tell from the camera at the moment, but these swims are an absolute bog. So I need to strategically place my brolly somewhere where I'm going to not basically turn into a pig in mud. We'd probably do some rain in the next hour or so. So what I really want to do is, just as this sort of light is starting to break through the clouds, is just get my brolly and that set up. So like I say, I'm here for 36 hours, so I want to just get comfortable at least. Plotting myself in the middle of the lake in sort of 3 and 4. 4's not fishable, as I mentioned, allows me to cover a lot of water, so I don't really have to see myself moving, to be quite honest with you, unless I see something that really has to, you know, really has to force my hand and make me to move. Most areas of the lake are reachable from where I am, so I'm going to plot up here to start with, and then yeah, just see what happens over the next 36 hours really. So Rich said at the gate it has been fishing slow, but it is mid-December now, so it's to be expected. All I want to try and do myself is nick a bite or two, because obviously the last few sessions that I have been on have been really, really tough. So I wanted to come back to Woodside because I know there's a good chance of a bite. Last time I was down here, you would have seen my video from the summer. I set myself a little £20 common, £20 carp challenge, and I smashed that with the first cast with a 20, I think maybe a 24 common, something like that. So yeah, it would be nice to have a repeat of something on the larger scale anyway. So I'm going to shut up now because I've rabbited on far too much. Get this lot sorted, get home set up, and we can commence our session. So I will catch up with you shortly once I've got my stuff sorted out. Sling, whilst I'm just trying to watch where I'm walking before I go arse over tit on camera. When you visit Woodside, you would have seen again in my previous videos, you need to come and dip your net, mat and sling. So there is a container down there to disinfect all your carp care stuff. So that's what I'm going to go and do now. Give that a good dunk, give that a good wash off, because yeah, been to linear fisheries last few sessions, and yeah, was lucky enough to to nick a 20 pounder from Hardwick Smiths a good couple of weeks ago. So yeah, just going to wash them off to be on the safe side, even though I dipped them at linear. So I'm going to give this a good washing out now, and I'll catch you back up at the swim. As you would have seen, the first rod's gone out. That was a solid bag rod over to the far bank, about half a rod length off, which just drops down into a nice little sort of gully around that sort of back margin, back bay area. Just drops down into a little bit of deeper water, and I know it's an area that the fish obviously patrol. I've had bites from there before and been really successful. So solid bag went out on that one. That went out on a little wafter pink. So again, I know that pink works down here, and that was a scent from heaven. So something really sort of fruity, sweet, in a nice bag of real tiny micro pellet, little bit of powder, just to hopefully draw them in and nick a bite and just catch any fish's attention that may be cruising up and down that back margin. So whilst I'm under the brolly, it has started to drizzle. There was a 50% chance it was going to happen, so I'm glad I've got home and stuff set up before that come, and you know, I'm not wet before I'm already started. So as you would have seen, I've been just prepping a couple of rigs. I've got slip D rigs to go on the left hand rod and slip D rig to go on the right hand rod. So the right hand rod is going up again the far margin. Say far, it's like what, 30 odd yards if that, and that is on sort of a 6-7 inch sort of standard length slip D rig. To be honest, the lead's going out and I'm getting a drop, and you pretty much will do in here. There are really no sort of, you know, mucky areas as such, so you will always get pretty much a drop wherever you put your rod out within reason. So I've gone with a slip D rig. I probably could have made it a little bit, you know, an inch or two shorter, just for initial sort of hit if any fish suck the hook bait in, but I've just gone with my standard sort of 6 inches or so. On this one I have got a Scent from Hell wafter in pink, again because I know that they work. Absolutely reek, so I've got the lid straight back on them, because this one enough is, yeah, this one's stinking out the brolly already. But rather than use it just sort of round, what I'm going to do is just trim it down a little bit with the scissors. So I'm literally just going to take the sort of round edges off it really, and make sure all these shavings go out of the brolly and outside, rather than stinking me out for the next 36 hours. So what I'm going to do is just run the scissors around it and just shave it off really, just to make it more of a sort of a barrel shaped wafter. Just wanted to change up the sort of size of it really, make it a sort of a few mil smaller than it currently is, and just make it a little less sort of blatant, a little bit less in your face, because I'm not being funny, the smell alone will draw fish in. So just want to trim the edges off like so, make it more of a little barrel, less bulky as such, and yeah, that will slide up and down that slip D lovely. So the rig will be flush on the deck, and that will just slide up and down that D. Hopefully a fish will find that attractive and want to suck that in. What I'll do just before casting out as well, just get the booster bottle and just massage a couple of drops in to that one, just to make it even more stinky than it already is really. So that is the right hand rod. Pop that down there. Next one I'm going to have down the margin. The margin seems to do a decent amount of fish, and funnily enough it seems to do some decent fish as well, like size wise. It seems like there's some swans that have also taken residence up on this lake, which I haven't seen before. It's usually quite bird free, so yeah, it seems like some swans have come and made this their home for the winter. Whilst I've been stood in the margins, the clarity of the water is really clear, so although I've got a couple out that are quite bright, they'll probably be in a little bit deeper water. Where these margins they kind of do tend to just slope off, I'm going to use a more natural, like neutral looking bait. That one is the Creamino balanced bottom bait, so that is really slow sinking. As you can see, it's got bits of cork dust in there, and that just sort of negotiates the weight of the sort of wafter content, the boilie content that will go into making that wafter. So they are the balanced bottom baits, like I say, nice and neutral. Hopefully will deter any attention from those pair of white swans that seem to be making their way end to end. Again, on the slip D rig, exactly the same length. I tied up sort of half a dozen ahead of this session, and yeah, again, I'll probably just take the edges off this one as well, and just before casting out, give it a little boost of the Creamino booster bottle. Now these will last absolutely ages, you don't need loads, literally a few drops, and just massage it in, and that will just, like I say, add a little bit of an extra dimension to your hook baits. So I'm going to get these rigged up onto the rods. They've already been wrapped up, well, the right hand has already been wrapped up. It's just a case of deciding whereabouts down this margin I want to flick this other rod and just walk it back onto the pod. So I'm just going to knock up a couple of little PVA bags of some crumb boilie, just to add to, just to aid covering the hook point and stopping this from wrapping around itself in flight. And yeah, we're pretty much good to go. It'll probably be breakfast time, so I'm going to leave it there. I will catch up with you shortly once I've got these rods out, and yeah, like I say, I can get some breakfast on the go. Well, that's all 3 rods out. 1, 2, 3. Don't know if you can see, I'll just quickly fling the camera around. Got the tips. Well, I've got the rod pod, the tactical pod, suitable for down here. Absolutely bang on, because you can use 3 rods. Obviously all the legs are fully adjustable, and yeah, what it's allowed me to do is get them tips right down in the water, out the way of Mr. and Mrs. Swan, wherever they've disappeared to, maybe onto the lake behind me. But as you can see, it's just allowed me to get those tips right down and out of the way, so I'm not going to get wiped out either through the daylight hours or through the night. So all 3 are out. What have I done? Let's turn the camera back round, probably be easier to show you really. See the big tree? If you just come down, there's like a yellow pole just stuck in the ground. Serves no purpose, it's been there from day one, but I've always found it a good marker to fish to. Always seems to do a bite, and all I need to do is a visual at night time, because I'm not going to see that stick, is just obviously just follow down the big tree. It's bang in line on the edge of the big tree, so as long as I'm getting it over there and hitting the clip, that will go out, and that will safely land in the water and not on the bank. So that's the middle rod. Right hand rod I have got up against this green section of the bank. Again, went out really nice, happy with the cast, hit the clip, went down nicely, nice firm donk, and it's an area that I've picked a couple of fish off on their travels as they make their way round into sort of peg 5 and 6 area. Obviously just goes round in a loop there, and yeah, I know, like I say, when they come out of there, I've managed to pick them off as they make their way through down and round. So that's the right hand rod. And last but not least, left hander, I've just literally whammed it down towards these reeds, just into this area really. Peg 1's water. I wouldn't normally do it. You wouldn't be able to do it normally, because obviously there would be people in 1 and 2, but I thought what I'd do is I might prep the margin and just maybe crumb up some boilie, get a bit of like a carpet feed. I might boil a kettle and scald some of the boilie pellets that I've got, so they're oozing loads of creaminess, loads of, just oozing attraction really, and just scoop a couple of light handfuls, just spray it down in this sort of marginal area, nowhere in particular, just somewhere that I can underarm and drop a rod on, maybe through the hours of darkness. But I thought, whilst I've got pretty much the whole lake to myself, a single beat there on the left-hander, whilst I got the lake to myself, I've just slung one right down the opposite end of the lake. It's another section of water that I can cover, and yeah, I've just stuck a little PVA bag of pellets on there and a trimmed down Creamino hook bait. So if there are one or two fish mooching down there, away from the pressure of me at the moment, where I've been leading up and obviously putting the rods out and stuff, it might have just pushed them up there. I've just stuck one rod up there, and who knows, so I can give it, like I said, I can give it a few hours, see what happens, keep my eyes on the water, and if I see anything, then I can just move that rod. I know I'm good on the middle and the right because I've done fish before, and I'm confident that the way that they went out. So yeah, it's just going to be a bit of a waiting game, watching and waiting really over the next next 2 or 3 hours at least. And I might just freshen up the solid bag, put it out again. I don't tend to leave them too long if I can help it, but yeah, the rain doesn't really materialise into anything, which was good, because if you look at that, it's an absolute mud pit, which is why I've kind of situated my rods sort of in between swims really, just because this grass ain't as churned up as these two swims. So I'm going to stay clear of that, and hopefully in the night, or if I have to run to the rods, then at least I've got a bit of a clear path anyway. So I'm going to shut up there. I'm going to get some breakfast on the go. I don't even know what time it is. Let's have a quick look. What is it? 9:20. So yeah, I've took my time getting the rods out, but I wanted to make sure everything was bang on really. So yeah, I'm going to shut up now, get some breakfast on. I'll keep you up to date throughout the morning. It's a little after 11 o'clock and I've seen my first sign of a fish. Now, typically nowhere near where I'm currently fishing, but somewhere, as I said, because I'm situated middle, I can get to. Now, just in this open water here, sort of in front of peg 5, only subtle, you wouldn't, if you wasn't watching or looking or scanning the water, you probably wouldn't have seen it. The rings disappeared ever so quickly from it breaking the surface, and yeah, like I say, if you didn't catch it, you wouldn't have seen it. So what I've done very, very quickly is just quickly got a PVA bag sorted, trimmed down a pineapple hell wafter, got the floss and that ready. So what I'm going to do is get that left-hander in that I just kind of whacked down the other end of the lake, and I'm just going to re-rig it up and just flick it out into this sort of area in front of swim 5. Now, what I might do is just take the sticks off the pod and stick them in the ground, or to be quite honest, I might just literally lay the rod on the floor, stick a peg in it, and yeah, just pretty much stand over it. I'm like, 10 yards away behind anyway, so even if it was sat in the brolly, that rod wouldn't be going anywhere. So yeah, I'm going to get this rod in, and yeah, fingers crossed we might be able to nick ourselves a little fish. Where there's one, hopefully there's a few more. So I've just been stood in the swim, just watching over the water, and obviously couldn't help but notice the erosion there in the swim. And yeah, I've just kind of been looking down into the hole, and lo and behold, found a horseshoe. Now horseshoes, right, are meant to be a sign of good luck, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they're meant to be a little sort of lucky token as such. So I think I need to just prop this up against the pod, and who knows, I'm not superstitious or anything like that, but maybe that's a little sign that something fortunate is going to come my way. So let's prop him up against the pod. There we go, bit mucky, and yeah, there we go, lucky horseshoe. Come on, bring me some luck. Okay, so it's coming up to around midday. I've decided to bring the solid bag rod in. It's probably been out best part 3.5 hours, and I think it's just time for a freshen up. Another bag loaded with attraction, back out to the same area, and yeah, just like I say, just allowing a little bit more traction in the area on the spot, with the contents of a fresh new bag. So all those little micro pellets just be breaking down slowly, releasing sort of oils and aromas, and just regularly keeping a bag going out every 2-3 hours will just ensure that just ticks over, and hopefully draws a carp in that may, you know, be around in that sort of back channel area. So that's what I'm going to do with this rod now. But whilst I do that, before I do that, I'm just going to talk you through the setup that I'm using for this session. You would have seen it 1,000,001 times before on my videos. I just tend to use the same setup wherever I go, really, because it just works. It fits in with the fisheries rules, and there's no need to really go in and chop and change anything, to be fair. So I've got a sort of foot or so of tungsten tubing. That's really going to hug the bottom and keep all the line and stuff like that in the rig and the terminal tackle out of the way. I've got a stem there which leads down to a 2.5 ounce inline flat pair, and what happens is the line goes through all of that lot, and it's just tied to a quick change swivel. Just pull that back through. I then got a little sleeve there that covers the swivel, but it allows me to change the rig very quickly in the you know, if I have a fish, I can quickly unhook the fish in the net and just leave the rig in its mouth for a minute whilst I get another rig on and try and maximise bite opportunity. So having those quick change swivels with that little sleeve just allows me to try and maximise my chances of putting another fish on the mat, which, you know, could be in a very, very small bite window. It's about a 3-inch rig, a wide gape hook, a little bit of shrink tubing on the shank, and just covering the eye for neatness. Now, as I said earlier, I put a pink out in the last sort of 3.5 hours. I've not had anything on that, so what I'm going to do is just chop and change the colours. I've got orange, what are they, sent from hell wafters, so really, really stinky bright orange. I've got white, what are they, sent from hell again. I've got yellows, pineapple house. So what I'm going to do is pretty much just work my way through the colours until I can try and nick myself a bite. And once I know that I've got a bite on a certain colour, I can mimic it across all 3 rods, or even just stick to it on the solid bag rod and just keep using that one colour on the solid bag because I know I've got the bite. So as I'm talking about rigs, you would have noticed that I've been using a lot of Codex terminal tackle recently, and I've been very, very kindly been sent some zonal braid hook link. Now this is absolutely perfect for what I will need in my solid bag fishing. It's a low diameter, really, really strong. I've been making up a few rigs with it. I've got one here actually ready to go. I just need to steam down the tubing, but it's a muddy brown colour. Also comes in weed green, and like I said, I've been very kindly sent one of each to take a look at and use in my fishing. Like I said, I've tied up a few rigs, and it's really pliable, as you would expect from a non-coated braid. Really, really nice. And not only that, when you're actually cutting the braid with your scissors, I've used some before where you know, you cut through the braid and it just instantly frays. This has been really neat on the cut, which obviously helps for tying of small loops, which you will be doing sort of for the hair, you know, and trying to get the braid back through the eye of the hook. So yeah, really impressed with that so far. Like I say, I've got a rig ready to go. I just need to steam the tubing down, but that's the zonal braid hook link from Codex, £15, comes in a muddy brown and a weed green. I will certainly be using that in my solid bag fishing, because the colour brown, the muddy brown, just obviously mimics the contents of your PVA bag, you know, amongst the dark pellet and that sort of thing. So once it's taken on a little bit of water as well, that will darken up as, you know, as it's out there on the lake bed. So really impressed with that. Really appreciative of being sent that to give it, you know, give it my sort of thoughts and my feedback on the product itself. So I'm going to get this rig steamed down, get a fresh bag tied out, switched it up to the orange, and yeah, let's hope it can nick us a bite. Right, well, that is the solid bag made. Just before I cast it out, I am going to give it a bit of a boost. Now this is hemp oil. Hemp oil is brilliant all year round. You can use it, you know, through the summer and just as well in the winter. So yeah, just to give this bag some extra pulling power, I'm just going to jab this onto the back where there's sort of like the doubled over section of PVA, just for strength, and just slowly push that syringe down into the bag. As you will see, that's just dispersing throughout the bag, just filling those last little tiny areas and clinging onto the bits of sort of stick mix and just powders and stuff that I've put in the in there amongst the pellets. So that's ready to go out. PVA friendly, so there's no need to rush. It will give, you know, it will not break down as you're trying to cast it over your shoulder. So once you've squirted it in, get yourself over to your spot where you're going to be casting from and get it out there. Right, well, it is coming up to around 3:30, which means the day has pretty much disappeared already. Well, the daylight hours anyway, not the day as such. Don't know if you can tell, obviously still got the 2 rods on the pod. I did redo the solid bag rod. The right rod that I had over to that area I haven't touched. I don't know what's been happening, but I've been having sort of single beeps, 2 beeps here and there, so yeah, not quite sure what was going on there, but yeah, kind of sporadic really. So I've just left that one in case there were fish just getting up and down that margin, or that area of the margin anyway. Like I said earlier, I did redo the solid bag onto an orange one, had a bit of a drop back, but yeah, nothing materialised of that. So again, that one's probably due a rechuck, to be quite honest. And the one on the floor there, which wasn't in its original position, has basically been chucked the other side of the island. I gave it a good couple of hours on that side. Nothing materialised after seeing that really subtle show. Rich come round and yeah, paid my money and all that business. We had a good chat, a bit of a catch up. So I say, I haven't fished here for a good 6 months, and he said that someone in here, I think it was possibly last week, had hooked a fish up from where I've got my rod now, so from this side of the island, hooked a decent fish, but unfortunately lost it. So I thought, what have I got to lose? I gave it a couple of hours there, and then I brought it in, fresh hook bait, bit more booster bottle, another little bag, and just flicked it down there. But yeah, unfortunately nothing has materialised, although I am just seeing, if I can zoom in quick enough, just on that line, it's stopped now, but just on that line where the dark meets light, just behind that, well, there you go, there was a set of bubbles coming up then. Typically they stop the minute that I get the camera out. but that's the closest to anything remotely that looks fishy since that show earlier. Not quite sure what to make of that, but that was definitely a set of bubbles coming up though, that's for certain. But anyhow, where was I? So yeah, I had that rod down in the right hand side, nothing, a couple of hours. Thought, you know what, obviously something's been hooked up or lost, obviously the other side of the island. Give it a couple of hours there, and yeah, nothing's materialised on that. And like I say, it's going to be dark within the next hour, probably even earlier than that, because there is a lot of cloud cover coming over. It looks darker on the horizon, just over the back of those hills as well. So we are due a bit of rain tonight, I believe, but we've been having little flurries of showers, light rain throughout the day. So yeah, not quite sure if the rain is going to sort of materialise tonight. Because yeah, it seems like what was meant to have happened this morning didn't really happen, and it's just pushed its way back throughout the day. So might be lucky and have a rain-free night, which would be nice, because yeah, this floor really doesn't need any more rain, to be quite honest with you. So what I'm going to do is get all 3 rods sorted now, get each one in one by one, get them set ready for well, I say the night, but it's literally going to be early afternoon. And yeah, at least they'll be set for dark, and then if anything happens you know, going into dark, then I can just get out and, you know, redo it if need be. But I'd like to have them at least organised and not have to sort of faff around when it's dark and stuff like that. So yeah, that's where we're at the moment. Nothing to report, but we're out doing it. Could still be stuck in the flat and yeah, sat behind the laptop. So I'm going to get these 3 sorted, and we'll catch up maybe in a few hours. So on cue then, 4:30, and the light is pretty much fading. As I mentioned, I got all 3 rods out, redone all 3, solid bag over to the far margin, right hander to that shorter margin, and then left one you would have seen me walk it all the way, I'll say all the way around, it's pretty much on the corner here, and just flicked it out. Apparently there's a bit of a deeper gully that runs from this corner, which I was unaware of, Rich tells me. So yeah, I've just kind of flicked it out in that sort of distance that he was telling me that it runs from, and yeah, nice little scent from hell white wafter. I went for one of the little ones this time, just that the ones that I use in the solid bags. So just flick that down there, and yeah, that went down absolutely lovely. Just before I got the camera out, I've just been scanning the water, because apparently there was a guy on I believe possibly yesterday or the day before, and he said just for a day session, and he said as it just turned dark he started to see shows, and yeah, right on cue I see one smack bang in the middle of open water. I didn't see the fish because obviously the light levels aren't great, but I heard it and I saw the rings. So yeah, it seems like 4:30 they start to wake up a little bit, so maybe they're nocturnal, and it might be that I get a bite or 2 through the hours of darkness, or first thing in the morning. But who knows, we're just gonna have to wait and see. So like I say, rods are out, it's peaceful. The only noise is pretty much from anyone that's coming home from work just down behind me, and anyone travelling home from work on the train every now and then. Like I say, got a place to myself, so so yeah, hopefully with only my 3 baits being out on the lake, they stumble across one of them. Final update from me, it's absolutely lashing it down. It's probably just coming up to around 9:30, 9:45, and yeah, nothing's materialised as of yet. Not really feeling confident with this heavy rain either. I'm hoping it's just a short, sharp shower, because yeah, I never feel confident really in, you know, heavy downpours at the best of times, let alone sort of you know, 10 days or so into December. So who knows? But all 3 rods are out. I've just been sort of led on the bed chair this evening, had some food, and just listened for any sort of shows, any sort of signs of fish really. And apart from seeing that one at 4:30 just as it got dark, yeah, I've not really heard anything else since. So who knows? We're just gonna have to wait and see. Oh, well, it's 4:30 in the morning, and yeah, I've just had an absolute one-toner from that solid bag rod, and I'll take you over there. Got one in the net. Had me scrambling for me wellies. Let's watch where I'm going here before I end up in there. But yeah, got one. Turn the camera around. Nothing world beating, but it's a bite. Happy days. Absolute reamed off. I couldn't get these wellies on quick enough, and then I had to yeah, fight my way across this lot to get to the rods. Here we go. Yeah, nice scaly mid-double mirror. Like I say, nothing world beaten by any means, but reward for getting out and doing it. And hopefully, where there's one, there may be more. Got around sort of what, 12, 14, 15 hours of the session left, and that solid bag rod will be going straight back over there. That's for certain. Well, good morning. And yes, it is a good morning. Obviously you would have seen we had that fish in the early hours, around 4:30, and yeah, like I say, it was low to mid double, but more than welcome, considering it was absolutely just lashing it down throughout the night. Hardly slept at all. I'm a little bit blurry eyed this morning. I was a little bit blurry eyed when I was playing the fish, to be fair. Yeah, not really slept at all. It's around 7:45. I would say that I've just got up, but like I say, I've not really been able to settle since I've had that fish. So so yeah, you might be able to hear in the background kettle's just on the go. But yeah, nothing else to report yet. I did chuck the solid bag rod back out, but obviously, you know, in the pitch black and being half asleep, it hit the clip and I heard a splash. But you know, I can't be 100% certain where it went. So I'm literally just going to brew this kettle and get that rod sorted again, get it bang on, ready for the rest of the day. The other 2 rods, not a beep. Don't really know what to do with them today. I think maybe just persevere with one on that margin again and just use another one as a roving spot, as I know that one obviously you know, has done me a bite, so it'd be silly to move that one. Might even convert one of the other 2 to another solid bag. I'm not 100% decided yet, but got just under 12 hours, so I've got till 7 PM this evening, and whoever it is that's joining me isn't actually here yet, so I'm not quite sure what time they're arriving, but still, we've got the yeah, we've still got the lake to ourselves. So there's the remnants of the rig from last night. I can't remember what I said in the previous sort of clips where I was saying what I was going to do for the night. So when I was getting my rods sorted for the night, I can't remember what I said, whether I was going to stick to orange or change it up and just go for another colour. But obviously for some reason I went back to pink, knowing that pink works. This was a sea monster wafter, absolutely honk, and it still honked 12 hours later. So that's a sea monster wafters. They fit perfectly in the bag and they stink. And like I say, that was out for the best part of 12 hours, that solid bag rod. and it still absolutely stinks. You could still fish, you know, if that was a whole bait, you could still fish it. It still stinks that much. But yeah, obviously for some reason it took me back to, I took my pick, and it was obviously a pink again. Like I said, I can't really remember what I said in the little clip of the video when I was sorting out my rods. So, but anyway, it worked. I got myself my bite. I'm more than happy. Just going to try and up that tally today, fingers crossed. So this kettle's nearly boiled. I'm going to get that down my neck and then get that solid bag rod sorted out and see if we can nab ourselves another one before we have to leave. Well, I don't quite know where the morning's gone. It's gone 11 AM already, and obviously I've been up since the early hours, and yeah, it's just disappeared. All 3 rods are out. Don't know if you can see over my shoulder, there is another bivvy set up in swim 2. The guy's arrived to do his possibly 60-hour session, maybe a little bit less, because yeah, I don't think he's as mad as me as sitting out in the rain, and 2, he said he weren't quite feeling it due to obviously the barrage of rain that we had last night. I don't know if you can see, obviously over my shoulder it is flat. You could literally see, you know, wow, yeah, it's just flat, and it's not really filling me with confidence at the moment. It's I prefer a little bit of a chop on the water, to be fair, but it's not cold by any means. I've got this coat on, but I could easily take it off. It's so mild. The sun has been threatening to poke its head through the clouds behind me, but we keep having these little sporadic sort of spray type showers, which really isn't helping the drying off situation. So yeah, I've got a feeling I'm going to have a bit of a mission on my hands over the weekend to try and get that lot dry. I am going to freshen up the solid bag shortly, just to put them into different areas of the lake. Maybe just try and put them amongst a few fish if I can, really. It's hard to kind of guess where they might be, because there really is nowhere for them to sort of really hide as such. So they've got to be just sort of laying dormant, is my only thinking, you know, not really moving around much, just kind of laying on the deck or just laying up somewhere. But I think where there might be one, you know, there might be a few. So if I can land a bag in and around or amongst them, they won't have to really move that far or do much to get their heads down on the bag content. So yeah, I'm gonna switch the bags up, get a bit of fresh attraction going through the water, and see if that can nick me an extra fish. But that coffee's cold, so I think I'm gonna need to get the kettle on again, and I'll keep you updated through the day. But at least it's a little bit more bearable today without them heavy rain showers, at least anyway. So I'm going to finish this up, get the kettle on, redo the rods, see if we can nick ourselves an extra bonus bite. As I'm sat on the bucket, typically the rain has started again, but there we go, 3 bags made. I've again ringed the changes, pink, yellow and orange, all loaded up to the brim with pellets, powder and soon to be some hemp oil. So the orange ones are the Scent from Hell wafters, the pink ones are the Sea Monster wafters, which is the one that I had the bite on, and the yellow ones are the Pineapple Hell wafters. Now they're all the same size, they all fit beautifully into the corner of the bags, and if you haven't given solid bags a go, then I thoroughly recommend it. You know, I've been using these for probably a good 3 or 4 years now, if not longer, and they really do sort of get you out of jail when sessions are tough like this. They allow you to obviously recast regularly without leaving loads of bait behind, and if you are using these if you're using pellets that are sort of micro size, anything sort of from micro, 2mm, 3mm, 4mm, whatever the pellets come in, just don't go any bigger than 4mm. I recommend that you go for a mixture of flavours, smells, sizes, like I say, from micro to 4mm, and they will fill them bags nice and tight and compact. What I also do into my pellet mix is just to add a bit of powder, so I don't know, a bit of ground bait or some stick mix, just something that you can dry the solid bag contents terminal tackle wise in it before you build your bag, because yeah, if anything gets wet, then these bags are going to melt before you've even cast them out. But like I say, you know, that's rock solid. You've seen it in my videos before. That is just one heavy weight ready to be cast out. Like I say, once you've got some PVA friendly liquid in there, whether that be an oil or you know, a stick mix liquid, something like that, that's just going to boost the attraction of the bag contents. And once that's sort of melted on the lake bed, you're just going to have a nice pile there. Loads of attraction just dispersing through the water columns, and then your nice little visible stinky hook bait sat amongst it, ready to be hoovered up. So like I say, it is starting to rain. Rain and PVA really don't mix well, so I'm going to get these out onto one different area, possibly two different areas, but one is going straight back over to where I had that fish. So let's get these out and get out of this rain. Up on social media this morning saying it has, you know, brought me a bit of good luck, and yeah, apparently I had it round the wrong way. It should have actually been up that way. So yeah, hopefully then that might just do the trick and spur on another bite. But yeah, those of you that were watching the video, how many of you recognise that schoolboy error? Still rectified now. 5 hours or so at least left to try and get me another bite and rectify that schoolboy error. Oh, what an absolute mental 5 minutes. Firstly, my right-hander gets wiped out by the swans. Been fine all the last 36 hours, been absolutely fine, but no, absolutely wipes me out. Had to just redo that one. Just stood over the rods, settling the line for that rod. Girlfriend phones me on the phone. Middle rod over to the far bank, absolutely reams off. Hang up on there, playing the fish, and we've got a chunky one in there. Definite 20, that's for certain. Really dogged battle, slow dogged battle. And what was I saying about having to get that stuff off there and taking it home if I've got a fish in the net? But real nice chunky one, come on. And typically the rain is starting to come down as well, so pretty much everything that I've just spent doing for the last hour is just probably about to get undone. Net, mat, sling set up. I'm going to get a quick light set up so we can get this one out, have a proper look at it, we'll have a weigh of it, and yeah, we'll get it up on the mat so we can have a proper look. 27 pound 5 ounces, buzzing, absolutely buzzing. Oh, look at that, 27 pound and 5 ounces. I knew it was a better fish from the minute that I hooked it. It was just staying low, dogged, really powerful runs. Took me probably the best part of 10 minutes to get him in, but look at that, 27.5. Oh my god, absolutely buzzing with that. Come off that spot that was over on the far bank, that yellow stick that I pointed out, that yellow marker. See waft the hook bait again, and oh my days, I am buzzing. I don't care if I go home absolutely drenched wet through. This is made sitting out in this peeing down rain absolutely worth it. Oh, buzzing, buzzing, buzzing. 27.5. Nice thick, chunky, weighty fish taken on the solid bags. Absolutely buzzing. Look at him. Minter, absolute minter. Oh, mega, absolutely buzzing. Just look at that sunset over my shoulders. Look at that, it's absolutely beautiful. It's like a summer's evening. So mild, beautiful hazy sunset, and lake record to go with it. Absolutely buzzing. Just had Rich down, the owner of Woodside Lakes, and it's confirmed that is in fact the lake record. It last come out around £27, good 3 or 4 months ago now apparently, and I've just upped it by a good 5 ounces. So I am absolutely buzzing. This light is blinding me. I'm absolutely drenched wet through. All the gear is drenched wet through, and like I said, for the sake of getting myself all organised, I really don't care. I am so happy. That's just like an early Christmas present, that is. I said to myself before I came, I kind of put on my Instagram, if you've seen, last time I came I wouldn't have minded one of the bigger mirrors that reside in here, after having a 20 plus common last time. I set myself a little challenge back in summer, and just nailed it, absolutely nailed it in a manic 5 minutes. So I don't know if you can see over there, all that lot is absolutely drenched wet through. I need to get that all reorganised, packed down, ready to go into the car. I have still got one rod out, which was the rod that I recast that Swan wiped out after, I don't know what, after 34 hours of leaving me alone. And so I've still got one rod out, so you never know. But I think that's probably pushing my luck, to be fair. So happy days. I need to get this lot sorted out. I'll catch up with you when I'm out in the car. Oh, as you can tell, I'm proper buzzing excited. So I need to put this camera down and get my life sorted. I'll catch up with you in a bit. Right, wow, as you can see, the car's packed. Gonna keep it short and sweet. I'm wet through, the kit's wet through, the car's steaming up, and I really need to get on the road. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. What a way to end the session, and what a way to end the year. Wasn't expecting that in the slightest, and after a frantic 5 minutes where everything just seemed to happen at once, you really couldn't write it. So if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I appreciate all of your support this year, and it definitely is going to be the last overnighter for me, probably this side of Christmas, if not the year, if I'm completely honest with you. So again, thank you for all the support with my videos that I put out this year, and I hope you enjoyed this one. I certainly have. So it's time for me to get on the road. As always, feel free to stick a comment in below, contact me on my social media. Really looking forward to chatting with you guys more next year and getting out and doing a little bit more of the same. Wherever it is, where is it? Horseshoe is somewhere. Rich has very kindly allowed me to keep that lucky horseshoe. Don't know where it's gone. It is in here somewhere. Probably slid down into the front of the car, but he's allowed me to keep that. That is now going to be my lucky mascot, even though, believe it or not, I had it the wrong way up to start with. And it's a funny old game, flipped it round, and who would have thought it? I have the late record on the middle rod. But a little bit of superstition for you, even though I'm not superstitious. So hey ho, I'm going to get myself on the road. Again, thanks for watching everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and we will catch up sometime soon.